Righto guys, welcome to Martin Motorsport, and this one is brought to you by Jared Lindy, probably one of the best train drivers in South Australia. So if you ever need a train, just get in touch with Jared. So we are heading to Mount Gambier, a long trip. We got Sam over here driving, and about 4-hour drive I think it is, and a big field of 56 cars, and we are experimenting with a few different setups, so we'll see what happens. But good time, bit of bonding time, father and son bonding time here. So I've probably been wanting to have this conversation with Sam for a few years now, and it's probably about the right time. I just want to discuss a bit about the birds and the bees. So I should have had this talk with Sam probably a couple of years ago, but now is a good time. And Sam, there's a few things that I'm a little bit confused about, so can you help me out? Where do babies come from, and where is the girth spot? Can you help?
Haven't got a clue.
Well, that didn't go as good as I was hoping, but anyway, we'll talk about that another time. Next stop, we will be in Mount Gambier at, what do they call it? Borderline Speedway. So pretty good track down there, and should be some good racing, so we'll see you down there. Okay guys, here we are, Borderline Speedway, Mount Gambier, all set up. Got a few cars here, about 46 wingless, and it's also the South Australian Sprint Car title, so there's probably about 30 of those as well. So we'll go for a bit of a walk out the track and check it out. So here's all the ruffians over here. Michael Pitcher, Robert Hurd. I'd like to thank Michael, he brought us some methanol, and also a few weeks ago he's got all the gear, lent us a honing tool for the bushes, for the torsion bar bushes. We'll just go for a look out here at this pretty good track here at Borderline. I did come third in the Mount Gambier Solo Championships here back in 1980. Had to do a runoff. He's having a go here at me. Had to do a runoff with Robbie Jarvis. We were side by side for 3.5 laps until I stuck it in the fence. Turn 4. So here we go. She's a really dark dirt and a nice bit of camber. So there we are, Borderline Speedway, Mount Gambier. Funny looking dirt, real dark. I reckon she's going to have a bit of grip there, Sam. So we'll see what happens. They've got time trials, but it's in the hot lap session, so at least he's going to get a few laps to see how the car's handling with the adjustments we've done. So all set up guys. Let's run through a few of the sponsors here. Wayno, Murray Valley Sheds, thanks mate. Biguji Farms, Smeds, Damien Drendel. We've got TS Stud down the bottom there. And today, Jared Lindy. KC's Crutching Service, Graham Mutton, Murray Bridge Septic Solutions, thanks Chops, TS Stud there again, Steve Johnson, Elite Fab Works. We haven't had to use you yet Steve, but we've got some gravel rash bars we need welded on for next season, so you're our man. And yeah, we'll see how we go. We've changed a few things. Got a guy that's been helping us out. With this class you get about 30 people all telling you different things. So we've had a few of the shocks re-valved, we've changed some torsion bars and changed a couple of things, so just a huge learning curve for us, so we're not expecting too much, but we'll get out and give it a crack. And as we've said before, we don't really know what the fuck we're doing, but we're going to gradually learn and get her all sorted out so we can hopefully get a nice consistent car. Sam's flat out up there. That weather doesn't look real good back behind. Righto guys, we've just had about 45 minutes of steady rain. They still reckon it's going ahead, so we'll see what happens. Still looks a little bit dark. Weather's been coming from out that way, but clearing up a little bit. Fingers crossed. Well, I went to get the camera to show them track packing because the track's bloody wet out there. You can tell by all the mud on the cars. I was a bit slow though. They're taking the cars off the track. They were just going sideways, couldn't turn. Even, I think that's William, couldn't hardly get around the corner, it's that wet. So I'm not too sure what's going to happen now. They're going to have to delay it for a while. Sam said he's pretty glad he wasn't in one of the first two heats who had to go out and track pack. Poor buggers, look at that. Well guys, they tried to get the meeting going but got cancelled, so probably not going to be much of a bloody video, but might have a bit of a chat when we get back to the shed, tell you what's going on, thank the sponsors again. Good thing about this, we were in heat 3 and only heat 1 and 2 had to go out and track pack, so we got a clean car. We're halfway through the season, the car's still in one piece, which is a miracle. But I suppose we've only had 4 or 5 meetings, so would have been good to get out on the track and check out new settings, but we're going to have to wait now. I don't think there's another meeting for about 4 or 5 weeks, up until the new year, so oh well, not much we can do about it. I suppose I'll be able to help him pack up. Righto guys, got back from Mount Gambier last night. Bit unfortunate that it got rained off, so we haven't put out a video for a while, so there's not going to be too much on this one, so I thought we'll add a bit to it and we'll do a little bit on how much it costs to run a wingless sprint and actually get into the sport. But before that, I've got to thank one of the sponsors I forgot to do yesterday at the race, and that's MC Mobile Welding. Michael Cowlin, good mate of ours, and he's always helped us out. We had a bit of a stint in a mod light a few years back when I had a bit of a run in it, the old fat guy, and then Sam I think did a season in it, and Michael used to race a mod light as well. He's a pretty good racer. Besides being a welder, he can drive a car pretty good. You just ask him, he'll tell you. So big thanks to Michael. He came down a few weeks ago with his Oxy and heated up the torsion arms there. We had a slightly bent one, so we needed it straightened. So he's always around the place to help us. So thanks heaps, Mr. Squiggle. Much appreciated. So we'll go ahead now and give you my rundown on how much it costs to get into a wingless sprint. First of all, why did we decide to get a wingless sprint? We've been around Speedway most of our lives, mainly with bikes, so and had a bit of a stint a few years ago, me having midlife crisis as usual and racing a mod light and a couple of other classes, but we really haven't done too much for a long time after doing a lot of travelling with Sam, from mini bikes, Pee-wee 50s right up to solos. Probably for the last 10 years we haven't done a real lot, so I'm getting older, Sam's getting older, and we thought why not get back into racing Speedway again, just something to do. And some of our best trips have been Speedway trips and usually have a lot of fun on them, so we looked around a few other classes and bang for buck we worked out Wingless Sprint was probably going to be the best. We are by no means rich. Actually, we shouldn't have even been buying this one, but you only live once, so we scraped enough money together to buy a car and that's our story anyway. So we'll go through now and tell you roughly how much it costs to buy a car and run one. Okay, so buying a Wingless Sprint, I've seen them from $5,000 or even less, right up to $25,000. So it all depends what you want to do. If you're getting one for under 10 grand, you're probably going to have to do a bit of work to it, like new belts and stuff, and a seat and other bits and pieces. But I've seen a lot of good ones for around 13 to 16. So if you've got the money, that's what I'd be looking for. And that also depends how much spare parts you get with it. You just that's going to have a lot to do with the price. So basically with this one, we got a few spare parts, but not really enough to run it, and also be able to change setup and all that sort of stuff, with having enough shocks and enough different wheels to adjust stagger. So our plan was just a race, and if we pranged it, we couldn't really afford to fix it for a while, so we might have to take half a season out if we needed another front end. But in the end, when we put it up that we'd bought one, we had a lot of great mates come on board and wanted to get their name on the car, so that actually helped out heaps, and it gave us a little bit more money. So we ended up buying spare left rear and right rear tyres. We've got 2 spare of each, which also helps you with your stagger. So if you're new to wingless and sprint cars, the cars use different size tyres on the back, so the left rear is a bit smaller than the right rear. That just helps you get around. They call that stagger. So at the moment we've actually got a left rear on the right rear, which I'm confusing you with now, but that's just so it gets up on the trailer easier. But so that helped us out. That also helps if you happen to smash up a rim, you've got a spare one. It doesn't take much to hit the wall or hit another car and you're stuffed, and it's probably $400 or $500 to buy another rim second hand, and probably $700 or $800 brand new. So hopefully we've got enough to get us through the season. That sponsorship we got through our mates too allowed us to get a good set of shocks, although we've just spent money getting them, most of them revalved. But if you've got the spare shocks, it allows you to adjust for different tracks, and you've got spares if you happen to bend one on a race night. The other thing we've just been able to get, which we're trying to just build up all the spare parts we've got, is another front end, which is sitting over there. Damien Drendel came on board with a bit of extra money to help us get a complete front end with the hubs and everything on the end, so that can just be bolted straight on. But if you can't afford that, you can buy just the beam, which is just the metal part here. You can buy that separately. Probably get a second hand one of those for $100 if you bend it, and I think new ones are about $260, $280. But if you're going to bend something on these, it's usually going to be the front end up here. So having that spare ones just comes in handy. So just a couple of other people I'd like to thank. All this pricing I'm talking about is us not owning a trailer. So if you haven't got a trailer, you're probably looking at $3 to $5 grand for a basic trailer. Sam's got a mate, Casey, who has offered to let us use his trailer for the whole season, so that let us spend a little bit more on the car. So huge thanks to Casey. It would have been a lot harder without the use of your trailer. And I've already mentioned him once before, but Michael Pitch, he runs 3 cars, a couple of cars for his daughter, and has another driver in the other one, and he's been fantastic with help with us. Just little things like when we put new bushes in, we chucked the bushes in for the torsion arms and they were all stiff. Had no idea we had to ream them out with a reaming tool, which can cost $300 or $400. So he lent us that, got a lot of information out of him. The other thing I haven't mentioned is, with these running on methanol, one of the biggest problems they have is the injectors. They can get clogged up or stuff up, so you really need a spare set of injectors, and then you need to get them clean. A lot of guys will clean them every race meeting. They'll have their own setup, so we haven't got that, but Picture's got a set there we can use anytime we like, so it'll test them, see how they're working, and he's also got a cleaner there. So I think the whole setup for something like that is probably about $400 or $500. So that's something we'll work on in the next year or two. But thanks to those guys, it would have been a lot harder without them. There's also lots of other stuff which I'm probably going to forget, but things like blocking to set your ride height. There's the blocking kits, but you can just cut wood to the right size, whatever you want. Bead breaker for the tyres. When you want to change tyres, you need to get the bead breaker. So all these little things add up, and then you've got your race stuff you need, your helmets and your race suit, all the approved stuff. Things like the radio system that you have to have, so you can hear the steward telling you off when you've stuffed up. So as for spare parts, there's probably heaps of other things which I haven't mentioned. You need your fuel tunes, your methanol, race night. I'm guessing we go through without a crash, and forgetting about wear and tear on the tyres, you're probably looking at around $150, $200 for the night by the time you spend about $100 on methanol for the night. Getting your mechanic through the gate, just other small things that all pop up, so keep that in mind. But we're just out there for a bit of fun. We're hoping we can get this car up into the top 15. If we can be a steady top 15, top 10 car, that would be bloody brilliant within the next year or two. And no matter how fast you get though, this class, there's so many people in it, so many cars in it, you're always going to find someone around your pace out on the track, so you're going to have a lot of fun and be able to have a good race. So that's enough of me probably talking any shit. If you've got any questions, leave it in the comments. If you want to follow us, just subscribe. We're going to video every race meeting, tell you how we're going, the ups and downs. So and if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. I probably don't know everything. As I said, we're pretty new to the class, but I might be able to help you with a few things. If not, I'll guide you in the right direction and find someone that can answer your question. So basically, you probably need around $15,000–$16,000 to get a reasonably good car and a few spare parts and get yourself started. And while I'm here, just before we leave, I want to plug my main YouTube channel, Drifting in Gilligan. I do camping trips up along the River Murray. I try and find little camping spots that not many people know about, so you can go camping. I do fishing, I do catching cooks, I go yabbying, and all of the cooking and fishing I'm actually pretty shit at, but people tend to enjoy the videos. So video out every Wednesday, so check it out, and also subscribe to this channel. And if you're at the track, come up and say hello, and we can show you the car. And if you've got any questions, just let us know and we'll try and answer them as good as we can. So that's about it. Catch you guys later.